Merry meet and welcome. Welcome to the realms of mysticism, the occult, and magic, where your possibilities are only limited by your imagination. Welcome to the witch's cauldron and discover the knowledge you seek. Gather round the cauldron and even stay for a spell. Brightest blessings to you. Merry meet and welcome to the Witch's Cauldron. My name's Paula. Today I want to talk about the astrology involved with the new moon that will be occurring in Aries on either March 31st, depending on where you are in the world, or on April the 1st, depending on your location. Now, since we are in the sign of Aries this month, the general energy is going to be very quick. Things will be moving very quickly. Aries is ruled by Mars. Aries is a fast-moving sign. Mars is a very fast-moving, initiatory kind of energy that calls you to action. It's kind of like a kick in the pants from the universe to get us up and going. Additionally, right now, all of the planets are in direct. They are moving direct until April the 29th when Pluto moves retrograde. So this also is giving us a general energy, feeling of moving forward, okay? But it may be a little bit fast for us to even feel like we can keep up. We may feel like we're almost overwhelmed by this strong initiatory get up off your butt energy. Now, the new moon will occur at 11 degrees 30 minutes of Aries. Now, it will occur on March 31st at 11:24 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time in the U.S. and on April 1st at 2:24 a.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time in the U.S., which would then be 6:24 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time in the UK. For those of you who are magical practitioners, the moon will be in Aries this entire time, and it will not leave Aries until April the 2nd at 9:51 a.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time in the U.S. So, if you're doing your new moon rituals and stuff, you don't have to worry about the moon being void, of course, unless you delay doing your ritual until the 2nd, because new moon energy is the day of and the day after. So depending on where you are, there you go. Those of you who experience this new moon on the 31st, this will additionally be the second new moon in the calendar month of March. Okay, these are typically called black moons or she moons, referring to the Fae. Okay, so you need, if you're doing a new moon ritual on the 31st, you need to factor that energy in. So those of you who are on the West Coast of the U.S. and in time zones where this new moon falls on the 31st of March rather than April 1st, it's a good, she moons and black moons are very good new beginning energy, okay? So that just reinforces that new beginnings. However, I do highly suggest that you leave offerings to the Fae. This can be sweet cream, it can be honey, it can be sweetened butter. They like shiny stuff. I usually go and get some, clean up some nickels, dimes, quarters, bright silver kind of coins, and I leave them throughout my garden, in addition to leaving out some raw honey for them. For those of us like me on the East Coast and in other parts of the world, we will have our second new moon of the month of April on the 30th of April that will occur at 4:27 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time in the U.S., which would be, I believe, 8:27 p.m. in the UK, because we have weird daylight savings time stuff here, and it makes me crazy. And it'll be in Taurus. Okay, so when we get closer to that, I will give, all the kind of correspondences and everything for that. Now, remember that the first new moon, this is the first new moon of the astrological new year, since Aries is the beginning of the astrological year. Aries was also the sign of the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, and it was the autumnal equinox in the southern hemisphere. The Aries energy at this new moon is very much about new beginnings and planting the seeds for whatever you want to manifest in your life. Looking at those kind of long-term goals and what you want to manifest and come about. It's also a very good time to literally plant new seeds in your garden. Start your seedlings if you haven't already done that as part of like your Ostara ritual in the northern hemisphere. If you want to maximize the potential of this new beginning, this initiatory energy, check and see where 11 degrees, 30 minutes Aries falls in your natal chart. And then focus your ritual and spell work on that area of your chart. For instance, it falls in my 5th house, okay? There are a whole bunch of free websites that will generate a birth chart for you. I like the one that's done by, I believe it's Cafe Astrology. So if I can remember, I will link it in the description box. When we have a new moon, the sun and the moon are always together on a new moon. At this particular new moon, they are very closely conjunct to Chiron, with Chiron being at 12 degrees, 38 minutes of Aries. And Chiron's energy and this particular conjunction could indicate some type of recovery or new treatment. And this could be like a new treatment or a new medication, something for you if you have a major like health issue going on. But it could also be something about a new treatment or us turning the corner and coming out of the pandemic. However, part of the energy of Chiron can also make you feel like you are out of the loop. You're on the outside looking in. It can make you feel like you have been excluded from society. And a lot of us magical practitioners feel that way in general because we're outside the mainstream to start with. And this energy, this feeling may really feel like it's ramped up during this period of time. Energetically speaking, there is a lot of energy present that is initiatory energy. In other words, that kick in the pants. Your desire to get things done, to start something new, to make changes. We have the sun, Moon, Mercury, and Aries. Remember that Aries is the sister of Mars, and they are all in the sign of Aries. And it's a great time to start something, whether this is starting an at-home small business, particularly if it involves something in a creative process. It's also could be a new project, having a fresh perspective. So find out where 11 degrees Aries falls in your chart. And this creative energy will most likely be manifested in that area of your chart. This would be really good time if you have ever thought about writing a book, because Mercury, communication, plus the initiatory, this could be a very good time for you to start a book, start writing a book of some time, or take on some sort of creative writing process. There's also a lot of warrior energy with Eris being in Aries, and her brother Mars rules Aries. And with everything going on in Europe right now, I think that this overall energy will continue to dominate during April. And even though peace talks may be initiated in Europe, I have a feeling that they may either stall or fall through. So I think this is a particularly important time for us as a collective to send up those vibes of hope and peace and love and stay in a higher frequency. This is also a time to tackle things on your own. This is an energy that encourages you to think outside the box and to be a pioneer. The spring equinox kind of kicked this whole energy off, and it continues through this new moon. We also have the energy of the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction at 23 degrees 58 minutes of Pisces that will be occurring on April the 12th. And this conjunction also encourages you to take that step to ascend, being called to your higher self. You've probably already been feeling this, especially if your sun, moon, or ascendant in your natal chart are near the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction at 23 degrees 58 of Pisces. If your sun, moon, or ascendant are at 23 to 25 degrees of Cancer or Scorpio, you're also liable to feel this energy as well. Many are being called to reconnect or connect with a spiritual path of some kind, to reconnect with that higher power, to connect with source. And the Jupiter-Neptune alignment, this just highlights that kind of energy. This Jupiter-Neptune alignment only occurs in Pisces every 166 years. And then you add in that new moon initiatory energy, and it really highlights that shift in consciousness and the need to evolve and ascend to your higher self. Mercury is at 9 degrees of Aries. And we also have the dwarf planet Salacia located at 7 degrees of Aries. If you remember your mythology, Salacia is Ondine, if you're a magical practitioner, or Undine, depending on the way that your trad pronounces it, or what muggles call mermaid energy. And Salacia in her normal state is like the beautiful white light of the sun or the moon reflecting off the waters. That energy calls us to a higher state of being and to stay in those higher frequencies. She encourages you to stay centered and grounded and keep negative emotions in check. Remember that salacious shadow side can bring unchecked emotion. She is elemental water energy. So it's very, very important for you to try and stay grounded and centered during this whole period of time. She also is encouraging you to listen to your intuition and not silence or poo-poo what your intuition is trying to tell you. She encourages you to get away from the analytical, and a lot of people right now are suffering from analysis paralysis, as I call it, and she's encouraging you to get away from that kind of energy and to not be so in your head and get more in tune with your heart, with the higher frequencies of the heart. You may also be having very vivid dreams during this period of times, or nightmares if you are in a lower frequency state, if you are sitting in Salacia's shadow side, okay? On the new moon, Mars is at 19 degrees of Aquarius and is square to Uranus at 13 degrees of Taurus. Now, both are located in fixed signs. Fixed signs can tend to be kind of immovable or very explosive kind of energies. It would not surprise me at all if there were not a large volcanic eruption or a large scale earthquake during this period of time. These energies are also connected to social structures, particularly with Aquarius influencing our social networks. And it can be, this energy presents as very clear demands for freedom. With Aquarius linked to the internet, it's likely to manifest in the forms of freedom of speech, continued calling out of censorship, and a need to be heard. Okay, this square can also kind of, that eruptive energy behind it is very rebellious. So there can be even more protests or call to action against particularly internet, mainstream media, social networks who censor what and remove posts or flag posts that they deem to be disinformation, misinformation, blah, blah, blah. So those are the energies in play for the new moon in Aries. I will do, videos later in the month on the full moon, and I'm going to do a standalone video on the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction on the 12th of April, and I will do another video at the end of the month when we come into the she moon or black moon for the parts of the world where our second new moon will occur on April 30th. So with that, my friends, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you will give it a thumbs up and give the video a like before you leave, and consider subscribing or consider becoming a member of our little cauldron coven here. With that, my friends, as I always say, merry we did meet, merry we will part until we merry meet again. Be well and walk in love and light, everybody. Bye.